Woohoo! We're back with some more Heroes in Training. It's been we just looking back. It's been almost 3 months since we played last, so I'm excited to get back into it. We're gonna get some quick shots, real quick, some quick dramatic shots of some recap as we're kind of wrapping up each scene. So we left off with you guys all going on your special missions with your mentors. And we're going to kind of wrap those up before we kind of skip time. So let me think. Oh yeah, so we'll open up with Bastion here. Or I'm sorry, no. I'm going to get some quick shots. So we see the city burning, right? And we see Bastion and Soul Impact. They had just like rolled and crashed through a window to save Bastion's life from imminent death after he gave himself a haircut. Like this is like recap, but like give a bad recap, but it's actually true. After Bastion got his haircut, he fell through a window. And then so we see like the burning buildings, and we see like Dragon like fighting with himself to like chase after Inferno. But he like decides against it and is like trying to like quell the fires. And I imagine that he can just like I don't know. I was imagining like, in like firebending, he can just kind of like, like when Iroh like breathes in and breathes out and the fire comes up and down. I imagine that he can kind of do that with fire, where he kind of just like puts it out like that. Because it doesn't really make sense if he like moves it up into the air. I imagine he just kind of like suppresses it, kind of. I think that's cool. So he's going around and doing that. And we see a shot of Trigger flicking after Inferno, as Inferno's like probably like running off into the countryside. Trigger's like flicking his fingers, chasing after him. And then we cut over to Leftwing and Countess, and I think we see like Countess and Leftwing over on some buildings, and they're like traversing from building to building. And I think we see Leftwing kind of turn and look at like the cop car, or like whatever armored vehicle, probably, since it's a villain, that they're putting sleeves into, as he's like unconscious. And we see like Leftwing looking at him, and then like the door closes on the armored car. And Leftwing like chases after Countess, and then we get a shot of Vulcan like carrying Palladium back onto the ship, and he activates the portal, and is like traveling back to, or like portals back to Mars. And then we see him like lift off and start heading back to Earth. And we probably get this dramatic shot of him going back into, he described it as you say, full throttle. So we see him going back into full throttle and going light speed. So we got all these shots, and we see Bastion and Soul Impact, maybe like they get on top of a building to like or actually maybe they like jump down into the street to like go help with like the aiding of civilians. And we see Soul Impact kind of look down at himself funny. Actually no, let's jump into the scene. Bastion, you feel something that you felt before, which is you feel like a tug on yourself, like an internal tug. And this is like Polar Shield pulling herself toward you. And you know that from your 5-minute training session with her that you can like resist it and like push back on it, and she wouldn't be able to pull herself towards you. But she like pulls herself towards you, and you're like, oh, Polar Shield is here. Ooh, I assume you. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Do you accept the pull?
Ow! Ow!
Yeah,
Sorry, my cat's attacking me.
I wasn't sure if you were going to resist it or not. I assumed you wouldn't, but
yeah, no, it's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, Polar Shield pulls herself towards you, and she probably like combat rolls as she gets close, and she's like, "Hey, I heard there were a lot of civilians hurt. I'm here to help.
Yeah, we're screwed.
Oh yeah, she's British, isn't she?
She is. She's British.
Does she have? Does her shield have like the UK symbol on it?
No. She's
She's not
American.
Captain UK.
No, she's literally a part of the government, the U.S. government Heroes in Training program. She does not have a UK shield.
All right. Well, and does she at least have like one of the first flags of America on her shield instead of like because then we had British accents back then?
It's just a shield. She doesn't have any flags.
Maybe she's like Fire Nation man, where it's like she's actually an Earthbender person, but she's pretending to be a Fire Nation person for the show. So she has a UK flag just because she's.
You wanted me to be.
Well, that would only be if. That would only be if she gets beat up a lot. Like if her
that's true.
point as a sidekick was to lose, that would be why she would.
Yeah, she pulls on someone in the crowd and just flies off into the.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
There you go.
You wanted me to be engaged with what was happening, Connor, so that means I'm going to make jokes.
That's fine. Okay, so what were you just saying?
Captain UK.
Yeah. So she's like, probably just like it like looks over at the flames and is like, what happened here? Soul Impact kind of looks at you.
Fire guy.
Dragon did all of this?
No. Villain fire guy. I'm just like panting when I.
Yeah. I think she just kind of nods and says, "Well, we better hurry." And like sees somebody maybe like that looks injured, and she like pulls herself towards them. And I think while I think maybe you and Soul Impact kind of run to catch up, and Soul Impact kind of gives you a look, and but then just like keeps going on. He has something he wants to say to you, but he's going to wait until all the people are saved. So then we cut over to Trigger, and we get kind of this like dramatic music still playing in the background, and Trigger's like catching up to Inferno, and he's getting close and doing some of his like finger gun propellant ability, and Inferno like glances behind himself, and we see like a part of his face as he turns is like blown off because of what Bastion did. And Inferno turns and like fires off a huge like flame volley towards Trigger, and we just get that like see the like flame in Trigger's eye, and then we just like cut, and we kind of see as Soul Impact, Bastion, and Polish Shield, and Dragon too, as they're kind of like wrapping up the like saving us civilians and putting out the fires and stuff. We see Trigger kind of like stumble into a street, and Polar Shield is like, "Trigger," and pulls herself towards him. Trigger is his mentor, just for a reminder there.
I really wish Trigger was a student so that I could make fun of him and be like, "Whoa, don't you come with a trigger warning?" But if I said that to a hero, I'd probably just get slapped. So.
Yeah, maybe when you're higher rank.
Yes.
Yeah, so Polar Shield pulled herself towards Trigger and like helps carry him over to where I guess maybe there's like a triage like area that's kind of set up outside of a hospital, maybe, as a bunch of people are getting helped and burn victims and stuff like that. So Polar Shield kind of carries Trigger over, and a doctor starts looking at him, and Dragon kind of walks up to Trigger. He says, "Are you okay?" And Trigger says, "Yeah, that was some messed up villain you guys found." And Dragon says, "What happened?" Trigger says, He fired off so much flame, I didn't even know what to do. It's the second time I've ever had to do it, but I had to clap." And Dragon kind of like raises his eyebrows, and Trigger's like, "I almost broke my body in half." And then we kind of get like a little flashback sequence of we just see Trigger like clap like right at the last second before the flames hit him, and just like a huge explosion happens, and maybe like we see just like a bunch of trees and like grass just like upend itself, and he like flies backwards.
I heard the clap was rough, but man.
And yeah, Dragon just says, I take it you didn't catch him. And Trigger shakes his head. I don't know if we ever will catch that guy. And Dragon like shakes his head and he kind of like storms off. He's like super angry. But I think Salt Impact looks to you, Bastian, and he's like, hey, can we talk? And here I do want you to make a roll, Jared, because you did break the law. And we have a roll about that. And there's a lot of interesting things that can happen from it, or it can just be nothing. But I think I'm going to have you roll on it. I'll grab it here and send it over.
What is the law roll?
Sorry, I'm trying to...
I think it's plus demerits, and it's a bad thing if you get one.
If you can't do the time, here it is.
That's something that I never got to do a lot of when we ever played Powered by the Apocalypse stuff. Custom moves.
Make rolls.
So I'm glad you're taking advantage of that. That's fun.
Yeah, I am. I have a lot of them. Still thinking of more. Okay, so if you can't do the time, when you break a law regarding Sidekick regulations, roll plus demerits. On a 10+, you were seen or recorded, and agents will be dispatched to bring you in and charge you appropriately. On a 7 to 9, choose 1. Government agents notice, gain influence over you, and will immediately cash in for a favor. Government agents noticed, but your mentor steps in and takes the hit for you. They take influence over you and are probably very displeased. Mark an appropriate condition. A villain takes notice. They gain influence over you. When this influence is used, you must accept or face the consequences of something else on this list, as long as the narrative still makes sense for you to do so. A fellow sidekick notices, gains influence over you, and will turn you in unless you do them a favor or can convince them otherwise, which I think would be the appropriate one to use in this instance if you roll a 7 to 9, because that'd be a soul impact, or Beaver Boy, as you like to say. And then on a miss, you get away with it this time.
Never call me Beaver Boy again.
Mark advancement and take the guilty condition if this is the first time you've rolled this move.
Can you roll for me? My roll 20 just is refusing to work right now.
Sure. Yeah, I'll pull up your character sheet and custom roll. So I'll give you a, what is it, -1 because you have 1 demerit already.
Yeah.
I think it's a +1. Isn't it a bad thing? Can you add demerits?
Yes. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But do
roll
you,
plus
but do you
demerits.
minus your stars?
No, you do not. Let me think about this. So I think that's supposed to then have been a 10. And I'm trying to think, could you use team in this instance?
Yeah.
Or what would that even do?
I'm using the bond that me and Beaver Boy made in this life or death situation.
I know it basically, I guess my confusion is like you can use team to get a +1. So I guess you could just use team to get a -1 in this circumstance, or does that not seem? I agree that it's like you're using this bond.
I mean, I don't think using team would ever screw you per se. So
you could use team selfishly, I guess.
Yeah.
So maybe that makes sense. I'm not sure.
But you kind of have to like piss off a friend to do that, and
he's kind of already
of what he's doing.
Yeah, and he's kind of already in that situation.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure what I feel like is the best answer here.
It's whatever your little heart desire.
I'm gonna let you spend the team on it. I think it's more interesting if you have to convince him, because I feel like that's just the most narrative appropriate thing anyway.
So he's doing it selfishly.
So that's the question.
I mean, he can't really. There's not really a use here that makes sense to spend it non-selfishly, because when you act selfishly, say how your actions ignore or insult your teammates, remove one team from the pool, and shift one label up and one label down, your choice.
Oh, yeah, so he can't even do that.
What does he need? Did he already roll?
It's the one with about demerits though. So I put in a -1 instead of a +1, and so it's technically a 10.
His final roll was a 10?
Yeah.
Oh, which is bad, right?
Which is bad.
So he needs one less.
Which we were trying to figure out if
can't
he can
do a
spend
label.
team
I see. Yeah, because this isn't a label thing.
Anyone working with a team can spend team for 1 to help a teammate.
Soul impact
give them +1
could
to
maybe
their roll.
spend it. No, he's not he can a character who can spend team. So yeah, I don't know if Jared can do this.
Anyone working with a team can spend team for 1 to help. 1 for 1 to help a teammate.
I mean, I don't think NPCs can spend it, but I guess that wording does seem
no.
weird.
But he'd be spending it to ask Soul Impact for help, basically. Which I'm going to let him do it. I like the idea of they have this bond, right? And so that's what he's working with. He's using his team as this bond that is the relationship here. And instead of it getting a +1, it's a -1, because you wouldn't do this normally with you wouldn't want to get a +1.
I guess if you're just adding some custom application of it, that's fine.
Right. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm going to leave that team up. I'm going to put a cross or an X into it.
Yeah,
let's just keep things moving. Yeah, so I think okay, so on a 7 to 9 then, Jared, are you going to choose the fellow sidekick notices gains influence over you?
Yeah.
So he already has influence over you, so he is going to then shift your labels.
Uh-oh, stinky.
So I think we'll kind of play that out. I'm curious to see what you feel like he's trying to push you into. But he says, we could have gotten killed.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
listen, you broke the law. And you put me in a tough spot.
Did I?
He kind of raises an eyebrow.
It was a tactical retreat.
A tactical retreat that you stopped because you wanted to join the fight. Or rejoin the fight.
I don't think any court of law would fault us for not being able to outrun Jetman.
Right. But I know differently. It's possible that we could have outran him. Maybe if we had gotten far enough away, instead of arguing about whether or not to rejoin the fight, maybe he wouldn't even known where we were. You risked our lives, and I risked my life to make sure that you were able to fight this guy off. I guess I was hoping you'd feel some sort of regret.
I mean, if it hadn't worked out perfectly, I would have regretted it, but it did work out perfectly.
Yeah, I think
But did you die?
I think he just kind of face palms. I think he face palms and you go for a high five. Yeah, he hits himself in the face.
It's
instead.
only cheating if you get caught.
Right? Yeah. He's like, listen. Honestly, I don't think any court of law could hold up to your bull crap. I won't turn you in this time, but listen, I want your word. The next time we're in a life or death situation, that you put the rules first and your pride second. Or honor, or whatever, however you want to look at it. But to me, How you acted was prideful.
And like the thing that's when he says that, Soul Impact suddenly realizes he's talking to a guy from China. He's like, "Uh-oh, did I just step on a social mores?" I didn't realize.
Yeah, that's just kind of He's like, well, it's more just like he's trying to make sure he's going to understand what he's pointing at, right? He's like, you maybe you don't understand that this was pride. Maybe you think of it as something else.
He just sighs like, I guess I can do that.
So mechanically speaking here then, where's that roll? So he gains influence over you and will turn you in unless you do them a favor or can convince them otherwise. So basically the favor that you'd be doing them is agreeing to this, being like, the next time we're in this situation that, I'll do that for you. Otherwise, he has no reason to not just turn you in.
Mm-hmm.
You could also roll here. You could also try and say something to convince him instead that it was the right thing, which you kind of already tried to do that. So if you want to try and roll to provoke him, maybe, or
okay, that's a mundane roll, right?
That would be a superior roll.
Oh, I actually have that.
Regardless, he's going to shift your labels because he does gain influence over you. But if you wanted to try and provoke him because that would be the other thing. Either you do him the favor at a different point in time, or you can convince him otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
But if you roll to provoke, there's different consequences as well. So you could spiral.
I think I'll try to roll to convince him.
Okay. That would be...
Is he going to shift my labels first, or...?
I think mechanically speaking, that is the order of operations that I have written out. Okay. In which case, I think he's putting down freak and up savior, so I don't think he's going to do anything with the superior. Okay. Although,
I mean, superior is like assessing a situation and tactics. I feel like superior is the one he'd put up.
Oh, really? No, I think he's trying to make you not. He's targeting your pride, right?
Okay.
I would think he would be decreasing danger because he doesn't want him to just go hog wild.
That would be interesting too.
Yeah, because danger is the thing that he did that he didn't like.
Yeah. Well, no, not necessarily. He put them in danger, but it was his pride that put him in danger.
Danger is the last thing I rolled, though. I just used the thing to switch danger with freak.
Yeah, I guess what I meant was that like his concept of being able to fight and like survive and engage the threat is what he was mad about.
Sure, yeah. I think, so he's like, don't think of yourself as like you can take on
as this. You can take on them. Exactly.
You're not dangerous. You should run. Right. Like,
right.
Is I think what he's saying.
Mm-hmm. So in which case is superior than what he's putting up? Does that make sense? Or would it be mundane or savior?
I think, more like mundane.
Mundane was my guess. Not that that's helpful at all, but that seems the most, he just wants him to be normal and run away.
Yeah. Don't be so prideful. And that makes sense because he's targeting the like Chinese superior honor that he has. Yeah. Increasing superior seems like the opposite of what.
Yeah. He could almost be reducing superior instead of danger, but.
Okay, so that's what he's pushing down. Then, so he'll. Do you want me to move it for you, or?
Yeah, sure.
So putting down danger and putting up mundane. Have you increased when you have taken advancement, Jared? Did you increase your labels by one already?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I saw that there's some are 5 labels.
I just haven't done the potential.
Oh, nice. Well, there's a time skip in just a minute here that'll make sense for you to come out with a new ability. Okay, yeah, so go ahead and roll that superior then with just a +1. Although, okay, yeah, no, you're good. You have insecure marked. I was wondering if you had guilty marked yet.
Yeah, 7.
A 7. Okay,
partial
so
success.
When you provoke someone susceptible to your words, say what you're trying to get them to do and roll plus superior. On a 10+, they rise to the bait and do what you want. On a 7 to 9, they can instead choose 1. They stumble, you take +1 forward against them. They err, you gain a critical opportunity. They overreact, you gain influence over them. So it's only on a 10+ they rise to the bait and do what you want. So I think you failed here, but maybe the argument is still up in the air is kind of how this looks like it's spinning out to be.
Well, I think it's a partial success is still a success. I think it's that they choose one of, well, I guess maybe they kind of do what you want, right? They're doing one of those other things in sort of a roundabout way. I mean, it's still a partial success. So like,
it doesn't say on a, so it doesn't say on a hit you do it, right? Where the other ones do. On a 7 to 9, they can instead choose 1. So instead of them rising to the bait and do what you want, they can instead choose to. So they stumble, they err, they overreact.
Sure.
I guess what would you want him to do, Jared? Stumble, err, or overreact? As a suggestion, you could say they err, and you could point out that if you turn me in, you'd be in trouble as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll be like, I get what you're saying, but like we did the best thing that we could have in the situation. Heroes risk their lives. That's what we do, and I know how fast my uncle can fly, and this guy's even faster. So there's no way we could have outrun him, literally running. And plus, if you turn me in, you're turning yourself in.
He like opens his mouth to like say something to that, and then just kind of quiets down. And I guess the resolution here, I don't want you to like, there isn't another roll here, right? It's not like, well, then you roll to provoke him again.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of a stalemate. I think the resolution is like, this is still up in the air. He doesn't like you. You haven't agreed to do what he wanted to do, right? You're not giving him the favor.
Mm-hmm.
But he still might turn you in at some point because of how this is shaken out. Basically, we'll leave it at that. If you do something illegal again, he'll probably turn you in regardless. But he's not turning you in for now, and you don't owe him in your mind, at least. You obviously could decide Bastian does owe him and do something else, but and that would resolve you needing to convince him. But we can leave it up in the air. That sound good to you?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I just don't really see there being another role that could happen from here. So we'll just leave it at that. So I think Soul Impact just kind of shakes his head and like turns his back to you and maybe says like, I guess I'll see you at school. And just kind of walks off. And he does still have influence over you.
Yeah.
So you are susceptible to his words, at least mechanically speaking.
Not once I upgrade and he permanently loses it over me.
Yeah, you could definitely spend an entire advancement on that. Yeah.
You're gonna pick him as the person to lose.
So I think we'll cut from there. I think you and Dragon and probably Polar Shield and Trigger get back on like your personal jet and fly back to base. And I think at one point, actually let's describe it like this. So you get back to like headquarters, right? And Dragon kind of like walks into like a meeting room. He on the jet, he like calls and like sets up a meeting with some superiors and like tells you to wait outside the door basically, and walks into like this meeting room. And you kind of hear like some yelling at a certain point, and then he just comes out a bit later. And actually, if you want to try and listen in, you could. I'll give you that opportunity if you wanted to. Otherwise, he'll just come out and So I want to make sure if you want to do that, you can. I don't know if you're trying to be sneaky. No. Yeah. So he comes out and he kind of looks at you and he looks really angry. Maybe like there's even like a little bit of like a glint of fire on him. And he like walks out. And we kind of close the scene there, unless there's something else that you wanted to try and reach out and do.
That sounds like a good spot.
Okay. So we'll cut over to Left Wing and Countess. Actually, let me check my notes real quick. I want to make sure that I covered everything. Yeah, okay. So Countess, I guess you and Countess finish up your patrol. And I think maybe you guys are like tying up some thugs in an alleyway or something like that as you guys are getting ready to be done with your patrol. It's like maybe like the sun is setting. And Countess, as she's tying them up, let's say that they're like chilling, and after they have resigned and surrendered, and Countess like tying them up, and she decides now it's time to have a good heart to heart. Yeah, while they're just like sitting there listening in, and she says, Left Wing, I'm sorry for being short with you earlier about me mentoring Emoticon.
It's all right. I suppose it's none of my business.
Well, good work today, especially with sleeves. You went to school with him?
Yeah, something like that. We were at school, I suppose.
I bet it felt therapeutic to punch him out like that.
Yeah, I suppose. He did most of the punching.
She chuckles at that. It's almost like sleeves represents your past. I wish I had the opportunity to confront my past like that. I'm not really... I haven't really recovered from my past yet. I still have a debt to pay. That's why I'm training with Emoticon. I'm really sorry I didn't tell you.
Emoticon of debt?
Maybe someday I'll have the courage to tell you more.
All right. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not really my business, I suppose. But thanks.
You can always roll. You can always try and pry. You could always provoke or try and pierce the mask.
No, I think Left Wing's in kind of like a morose mood right now. Yeah. He's still sort of, in the alley trying to pull a trigger.
Yeah.
So like,
I thought you were saying that that's what she said. You could always roll.
Yeah. At first I was
you
like,
can always try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, no,
it's like in a video game with like the tutorial where the character starts telling you which button to press.
If you want to find out something from an NPC, you could always
press triangle.
If you think I'm hiding something, press exit out.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no, I think that's why he's being a little more like, I don't know if he would say it's none of my business any other time.
Sure.
But yeah.
Yeah, true. First time and only time Left Wing will ever say that.
Yeah. You're like, yeah, I just maybe murdered someone and then didn't. So, I'll give you a pass. Yeah. So yeah, he just says, it's sort of just anyways.
And I think Countess is kind of being aloof to that. Like, she should totally have picked up on the fact that you're feeling like this, but she doesn't, because she's also in her own head. She's thinking about all the mistakes she's making.
Right.
And so you're both are just kind of like, feeling distant. I like that. So I think you guys finish up tying up the villains, and Countess just says, well, all in a good day's work. Let's head back to base.
Sure. Yeah, let's go get a drink. Yeah.
She kind of like forcefully chuckles and says, too soon.
That's fair. All right.
You guys head back to base. So unless you had something else that you wanted to talk to her about, we'll cut there and finish up with Palladium's trial.
I don't think I have any jokes for her. No, I'm good.
That's what David's trying to get in all of his jokes this session.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way. I don't think I'm going to run all these people, but
probably not. So we cut over to Vulcan and Palladium. I think you guys are.
Is it me like
still
waking up in the spaceship?
Yeah, you wake up like strapped to the chair in the spaceship. You guys are still like going light speed.
Mm-hmm.
And Vulcan probably
just
has
light speed, man. You guys are never going to get back.
Yeah, he full throttle. There's a difference.
Whatever that means.
Whatever that means.
In our by the speed of plot.
Yeah.
Setting.
Exactly.
Man, that would be. I want to do a sci-fi setting where it actually moves at the speed of plot, like that's
like
the
mechanically. That's the actual explanation. Yeah.
Like how when you summon a mistblade, or a shard blade, it's faster if your heart rate is beating faster.
Yeah,
it's like that. It responds to the tension in the situation. Anyways,
that's
nice.
a great idea.
Thanks.
So I think Vulcan has his back to you, so you just kind of wake up, and you're probably like groggy and like bruised, and your armor is probably still like reforming.
Right. He's like standing up in the ship.
No, he's just driving. He's just.
Oh, he's just not turned back.
He's just in the cockpit. Yeah, he doesn't. He doesn't know you're awake.
Yeah. I think honestly, when I come to, I think I like start and like try to go against the restraints immediately, and I say, "Where are we, Vulcan? No, yeah, I think Vulcan, we can't leave. Vulcan, I have to." And then I just like wince.
Yeah, I think he like puts a lock on like the mechanism or whatever, and he like unstraps himself and walks over to you and probably like kneels down to you, and he says, "You're safe, Palladium."
That's not. No. Why did we leave? I should have tried again. I should have. I needed to.
Palladium, I'm not going to abandon you. I'm sure that's what you're worried about.
Yeah, he seems disbelieving about that. Like, he's like, but why wouldn't you? Like, that's the whole thing, right? Like, if I'm not...
I decided. Your trial was unfair. If you had been of my species, it would have been right for me to abandon you if you had failed to absorb the energy. There were others that were abandoned today, or maybe it's yesterday now. Others that were abandoned yesterday, but I don't. Things were not clear. In my eyes, you failed because of circumstance, not because you were not ready.
Yeah, so I think I say, but the whole point of this armor, if I can't do what you do, then what does it even mean for me to have this? What are the standards for me? Like, I don't, how do I know I'm ready if I am not even the same thing as what you are? I felt like
Do you know why I decided to train you?
I think I always assumed that it was because the serum gave me some connection to the armor, and I mean, the government isn't going to turn down a new superhero, so they asked you to give me some.
That is incorrect. The serum gave you the power. I was the one that found you. And I was the one that convinced the government to let me train you, to let me take you on as an apprentice. And I did the same with my own species. I convinced both races that you were worth it. But do you know why?
I'm silent.
When I was young, an apprentice like you, I also failed the first trial. My master abandoned me. I thought my armor might abandon me as well. But it stayed with me. It clung close. And eventually, we learned and fought. Together. The only reason I am what I am today, which you would call a superhero, is because someone chose to stick with me, even in my failure. I saw the same thing in you, the day they said you were powerless, that I did at the trial. You should have won today, Palladium. I don't think it was your lack of ability that is most to blame here.
But it was my lack of knowledge. Vulcan, I tried to reach out when the council was speaking. I felt like the armor should have been able to translate their words, but it couldn't. I'm not like you, and I don't know if this armor is going to work for me the same way it does for you. What if there's a limit? What if there's a boundary that I can't pass that is going to keep me forever out of reach of actually becoming what I should be?
Then you must break through it. The boundaries that are set before you, you must destroy them. You must press onward until your goal is seen. That is all the great heroes and legends of your world have done when met with great adversity. I did not become a myth in your world because I gave up, because everything came easy to me.
Because he stuck with what was expected.
The heroes with the greatest adversity are the ones that grow stronger, the strongest. A couple months ago, I learned about moths. It says
Moths?
that when they're in the carcass, they have to push to get out. And if they aren't in the carcass, their wings don't grow strong enough.
Do you mean cocoon?
Yes, a cocoon. I'm still a bit fuzzy with the biological words that you use.
Do that on purpose.
Yeah.
Signature.
No, that was I knew that Connor was doing it on purpose. That was
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying for our audience.
That was all in character. Yeah, so I think I say well, actually, you know what? I think maybe isn't there like a adult thing that happens here where like they're trying to get you to like change your labels or whatever?
Oh, true. Yeah, maybe he's trying to change your labels. Actually, I think 100% that's what he's trying to do.
Because I think my response will be dependent on what he's actually trying to change.
So he has influence over you,
and whether or not it succeeds, right?
I think he's I don't know. I think he's trying to make you become. I don't know.
I think he's trying to drive up Superior to me. He's trying to tell him that he's ready, right? And that's what he's doing. I don't know.
Trying to make sure he can push through his obstacles.
Right now I have 2 danger, 0 freak, 3 savior, 0 superior, and -2 mundane.
It could be freak. He's trying to tell him that he's ready to use his powers and push through boundaries.
Yeah. So maybe he's putting freak up. In my head, I'm trying to push mundane down, though, but then I just inflict a condition instead.
Well, I mean, freak and mundane are the same. They're opposites, I mean, so that makes sense. Oh, but you're...
Yeah, he's already -2 mundane, so then I would just inflict a condition. So yeah,
by the way, what about my conditions? Yeah, like what's happening with
the time skip? Those are going to go away.
They're just all gone right now.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Well,
literally had all of them.
Yeah, not right now. Yeah, they
well, one of them has to be unchecked before I can actually come to consciousness, right? I don't think I can have all of them checked. Like, isn't there something that happens before?
It's just when time passes. I think you.
I'm curious. Let me see if I can find the section because
how does recovering from being taken out work?
Right, that's the question here. It's
I mean, I don't. It doesn't say. We went through this in one of the episodes that I re-listened to. Is it doesn't say that they clear in any other way besides the actions that you take to clear them, right. Or savior if you're rolling savior. It should give you
some indication as to when you come back when you're knocked out of a scene, and hopefully tell you what to do.
Here's a point of consideration. At the end of any scene in which you took the corresponding action, clear that condition. Did I do anything in the trial itself that would have cleared any of these? Did I didn't run from something difficult. I didn't hurt or someone to break it. Did I make a sacrifice to absolve my guilt? I don't think so.
No, I didn't. There's none of these.
Yeah, I didn't do any of these. Yeah, you're right. Let's see. Because then I think when you
I don't think you're going to roll here. I don't think. I mean, if you're going to roll here, I think it would be to resist his influence, but I don't know why you'd do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we can just move on. Were you going to try and resist his influence?
Well, I was just going to say, it does say, so for like you getting taken out, you lose consciousness or flee the scene one way or the other. So it's not inherently built in here that you have to stay unconscious or even that you get unconscious at all. It's just that you're out of that scene. So it makes sense that like I can even have all of these marks still. And I just have to take actions in this scene to clear it before I can actually do anything relevant. I don't know. Like, I guess part of it is like which one he's going to lower. That's my question.
Yeah. So okay, we've decided he's going to put freak up.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do savior or mundane, but
please don't put down savior because that means the one that I switch back and forth will go down.
I know.
And I mean, I don't know that it makes sense for any of our teachers to put down savior because that's like the
probably never.
Stat.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, maybe he's putting up freak and down superior. Maybe
I think that's not the only one that makes sense.
He's kind of pushing down your like he's basically saying don't think about it, push through it, right? Like go into your powers and stop overthinking it. I guess is probably the angle is we're pushing here. So yeah. So would you then try to reject that influence? You get a -2 to it, but your freak would be at 1, your superior would be a -1.
I don't think so. As long as that I just wanted to like hear the explanation. I knew how to like play out what Palladium was feeling in this moment. Okay, so I just go ahead and I went ahead and changed those.
I think we changed them at the same time. So your superior was to -2 for a second there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so there's one more thing he mentions to you before, unless you had like a line or something in response. Okay. So I think he kind of is saying all that, and then he nods and he says, "Good. Now that that's settled, I do have one question for you, Palladium."
Sorry. I guess I thought we were gonna. So the assumption is that I like made a face or like nodded or something to be like I.
Oh, did you? Yeah, did you? Yeah, go ahead. Did you want to like?
Well, I just didn't. I thought you were going to add on to what he was saying, not like pivot the conversation. So
no, I think I think that was him shifting the labels. Mm-hmm. Oh, we lost Jared. I think.
Oh, bye, Jared. I think he probably says something like, this is a good question. I'm also trying to fix the overlay real quick by adding myself again. I don't know, David, help me. I'm trying to think of like a good, like I'm trying to think of getting in Palladium's headspace and think of like what he would say to like get across.
But he's telling you that the
basically
greatest
you need to break.
Yeah,
the greatest heroes have adversity. You need to break through your boundaries if you have them.
Yeah. And I mean, his story was about how he did it, so you could be like, if you could do it, then maybe I can too, right? Like, I think that's
okay. Okay, I know what I'm going to say.
Across.
Yeah. So, he says, I smirk, and I say, I had to get the one alien who doesn't follow his own rules. Not his own rules. It doesn't. I'm trying to think of the right way to say this. Basically, I want to imply that like, you're also the one who breaks boundaries with your own people and right, like.
Yeah.
But in a way that makes it sort of a joke.
I had to get the one alien that's also an alien from his own people, maybe.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so I smirk and I say,
maybe I guess you and me are both just as alien to your people as like you're just as alien to your people as I am. Maybe not. I mean, that's probably not true, but
right, I know.
Maybe that's how Palladium is.
It's something like that. I'm trying to think of what the exact line is, but the idea being like I'm imagining now Vulcan as a Qui-Gon figure, right? Where like he's pushing against the boundaries of the Jedi Order or whatever, right? To train us up an apprentice that he should not. So I guess I say, yeah, I guess you're just as much of an outsider as I am sometimes. To all of this, if you didn't even make it, and your armor, I kind of look down. It doesn't seem like my armor wants to leave either. So I guess that means I move forward. And I look at him. I say, I hope this doesn't create any trouble for you with the order. I mean.
Let me worry about my order. You're young. You're supposed to live footloose, as they say in your world.
I was like, I think we said that in the 1980s, maybe.
Oh. Has that word changed since then?
Actually, I don't actually know when that movie came out. let me check.
It doesn't matter. It's a joke.
1984. That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. What was he going to say after that? I guess.
So then he says, Palladium, I do have to ask you one question, though.
Yeah. I just like look at him. I don't respond.
What did you do with the lava?
I could take the heat from it, but there was something there that I couldn't touch. So I could affect it in some way. There was residuals, maybe residual heat being given off by it, but that's as close as I got.
Yes. Well, maybe we'll look at that again for next time.
I nod. I mean, I keep finding new things that I can absorb, so maybe someday.
He seems very troubled and like isn't really listening to you anymore, and goes down and sits at the front.
Sure.
You could always try and pierce the mask if you want to. I feel that's the one thing that I want to ask if you want to do or not.
Sure.
Whereas everything else is just you just
I'll roll.
Me you're doing
I'll
it,
roll
but...
-4 to this. Let's do it.
That's right. Yeah.
But I feel like it would be what he tries anyway.
Sure. Yeah.
Whoa.
Go ahead.
Well, I guess. Sorry, that's
4 and a 6, so that's still a 6.
It is. So wait, why is it
Minus
why is
3,
it giving
right?
a -3?
I don't
know.
I don't know.
Like that's the one number it shouldn't be. Like it would make sense if it was just -2. It would make sense if it was -4, but -3.
Yeah, you have -2 to Pearson Mask and -2 to Mundane. So it should be. Oh no, it's always a max of -3, right? You can never get less than a -3. Is that what it is?
Oh, you're right. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So you do, you partially succeed then. Hey,
Nice.
look at that. Let me look at basic moves. I was not expecting you to succeed at all.
No, that's right.
Okay, so when you pierce
the
someone's
numbers
masks,
only go from +3 to -3. You can't get any.
On a 7 to 9, ask one. What are you really planning? What do you want me to do? What do you intend to do? How can I get your character to blank? How can I gain influence over you?
Sorry, I need to. Everything you just said just rolled over me. I need to read it.
yeah. I usually need to do that too with that.
Okay. So one question. These are all interesting options. I'm going to ask, what are you really planning?
He's planning to investigate this further without your knowledge.
The energy specifically?
Yes.
Okay, so he's gonna do some science and try to figure stuff out there. Or
and it's not out of curiosity, he's concerned.
Sure. Okay, so he thinks there may be some deeper reason. Is it like something's wrong with me or something's wrong with the order?
I'm going to say one more thing about it, and then that's it, because you're kind of prying into the question. But
but I want to neither. Okay, all right. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, all right. I keep to myself. This is a good thing to know, though. The -3 thing.
That is a good thing to know
for Jared specifically.
Yes,
no
definitely.
more min-maxing.
Yeah. Well, as in you can only get a high, like a +3 maximum.
+3 maximum. Yeah.
Yeah, that's helpful to know. Oh, it's a good thing Jared literally is gone.
He's not here to argue with us about it.
Okay, so
I'm not sure what happened
there. We are going to skip time now. Caleb, since we're skipping time, you need to roll to
to be mundane.
Roll on when your time when time passes. Roll to see how you're managing your obligations. On a hit, things are going pretty well. You have an opportunity or advantage thanks to one of your obligations. On a 7 to 9, you've lapsed on one obligation, your choice. On a miss, you haven't given your normal life anywhere near the attention it deserves. The GM chooses 2 obligations that are going to bite you in the butt.
You were on another planet, so.
Yep.
Also, so my conditions go away now?
Your conditions go away after time passes. So when time passes, roll to see how you're managing your obligations. You need to roll with the -3 on this one, especially because it makes sense. You have to then deal with all of these conditions, right? And those conditions go away because time passes or after time passes, right?
Can I affirm my secret identity first?
No. Yes, you can, Caleb. But remember then, the rest of the session, you have a -2 to savior, and that is going to be very bad for you.
Are we doing like a hero thing after this?
Yes.
Okay, fine. I guess I'll fail. Well, I guess if I have to get a roll like that
on
again.
This last one, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Here we go.
It makes sense if you fail this.
Nope.
Yeah, I missed. So you also you get to mark.
You could spend team selfishly. You could ignore us as friends and go hang out with your girlfriend or something.
That's true. I did say you all get one team. So you could.
I didn't spend
what do you
it.
do with that? You. Sorry.
I get a +1. Or I can shift. I can shift a label up one up and one down.
Yeah. So you could put up mundane one. You'd have to put something else down.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what I put down. I think I'm gonna do that. Okay, so I like the idea.
One
that,
more thing, actually, I'm sorry. You that roll was only with a -2. I don't know why.
Oh,
well, it's
technically a 5.
The wounds or whatever are for specific moves.
That's true.
Oh, that's right. So you're just rolling your mundane. That's right.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
So it is. Yeah, it is a 6.
Mm-hmm. That's good to know. I'm gonna put mundane up.
Okay.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting thing because I've been switching back between -2 and 3, and that will be switching back between -1 and 3. But I'm going to put superior down because I think what's happening is I'm being oblivious, right?
Sure.
And I think it's not only like before I left, I maybe even had an opportunity to hang out with David and Jared's character, and I chose not to. And as soon as I get back, I don't talk to Leftwing or Bastion at all. I don't
like we
go
don't even
back.
know
Like,
you're back on the planet.
exactly, for like a day or something, right? Like I'm literally just like gotta go right to my girlfriend and to my sister. Like I need to make sure that my life is put together.
Yeah. So you just you ignore the team. Maybe like even like you're in class, right? But like you're skipping training.
Yes,
you're not.
I would like
you're not
to
doing any extracurricular activities. So Leftwing, actually, probably your whole team then is like training without you. And and so we are going to jump.
I'm thinking I'm trying to get away with pretending like I didn't actually get back. Like the whole thing where you stay homesick one day longer than you were actually sick, sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
So let me look at what the actual team thing says here.
You also have to choose one obligation that you have lapsed on.
Okay,
so
real quick, say how your actions ignore or insult your teammates. I guess the idea would be if they find out about me skipping, like intentionally, it's obviously going to be. But I think at the very least, right now, it's like they don't train with literally the leader of the team, right?
Right.
So like disorganized and. Okay, so 7 and 9, you've lapsed one obligation. I'm gonna say school.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's what I figured. Yeah. So your grades are low. You're getting all like C's or something like that.
Fine.
C's and D's.
I don't mind.
You're like showing up to school like.
Yeah, exactly. Stay up late talking with my girlfriend, and then show up to school the next day like as a zombie. Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet.
Just showing up for the tests.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And barely passing.
Yeah. So I don't know if Jared's okay, but we'll see. Okay. He texted me back. He said Zoom broke, then my computer froze because I tried to close Zoom.
Do we want to take a quick break? This would be the time to take it. Or do you have stuff that we can do in between?
Well, I was just going to introduce the scene.
Well, that feels like something we might want Jared for.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. Right. So yeah, why don't we take a quick break and
sounds good.
Everybody go pee.
Yeah. All right, we'll be back with more Heroes in Training right after this.
Everybody's got to pee.
Yeah. Everybody poops, Connor.
Even superheroes.
Except for Go P1, he can OP.